everyone, and welcome back to a Gran Turismo time trial where we're in the brand new car that has arrived in Gran Turismo, the Nissan Skyline R34 GT-R Z Tune. We're at Kyoto Park, Yamagiwa, and we're on sports medium tyres. I've put the difficulty at medium/hard. If you can control the weight of the car, you should be fine. However, it is difficult initially when you do start this one. A gold estimate of around the 145.5, I reckon, because some people are going to yeet that chicane by the end of this 2 weeks, and that time is definitely going to be in the 42s. If you do enjoy this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. But without further ado, we are going to kick off with this time trial lap, and let me tell you how to do it here in that Nissan Skyline GT-R. So we are going to cross the line here and head towards turn number 1. And we're going to have 2 brake markers here. First of all, on the left-hand side, what I was using, the end of the yellow text on the actual circuit. Now, on the right side, there is the marshal box there. I initially started with that, but I kept finding I was outbraking myself a little bit too much. The yellow text was just that little bit better, and it's just before it leaves the screen. We're going to trail brake towards the corner then, and then keep going, and then we're going to stop it right here. So I actually aim for 80 miles an hour, and the second I get to 80 miles an hour and I drop below it, I'm instantly going to go on the throttle. I've highlighted these 2 billboards, okay? Especially the left one. They are really good accelerating markers. So if they appear on your screen, the left one especially, then just start accelerating, okay? Just on and off the throttle. Notice I went off it there, off again. That's to stop some of the understeer as I continue on through this corner. I'm going to head up the hill now. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. We go over towards the left-hand side, really abusing track limits. And before the end of the curb, we turn right and let off. We accelerate towards the corner a little bit here, just to force a bit of understeer. And then we're off the curb before it ends. Over towards the left-hand side now. Once again, we lift off a tiny bit. And then we accelerate through the oversteer here. It's all about going as straight as you can to reduce the weight transfer on the left and right. The more turning you do on that, the more the car is going to lose itself. So just be careful with that one. As we head towards this long left-hander, we've got a nice, easy brake marker here in terms of the 100 board. So I brake just after this, in fact. And similar towards turn 1, we're going to point towards the corner as we go on the brakes. We're going to brake hard and drop to 4th gear. As we approach the curb, we're going to then come off the brakes to around 50%, 40%, and trail brake as when we get on the curb. So there we go. Notice as we get there, we clip the curb now. It's down to 25% braking. And I'm looking for 90 miles an hour. So when I get to 90 miles an hour, I then start accelerating, doing the same as turn 1, on and off the throttle, and I make it absolutely fine. We're going to talk about short shifting afterwards, but first off, the chicane. This one, it makes or breaks a lap. So we've got the 150 board on the right-hand side. That is exactly what I'm using. You can use a white line instead, which is why I've highlighted it here. So you want to brake just after it leaves the screen. You're going to brake in a straight line and then trail brake the last little bit as you turn in. It's all about trying to straight line this chicane as much as possible. The more you straight line it, the less issues you have. So as we come onto here, notice that we're going to straight on up here a little bit, and we're abusing track limits there by staying on the curb, and we're using the grass as well, really trying to straighten it up. Now, there are points on that chicane where the car will just bounce all over the place, so you do have to be careful of that. It is frustrating, the chicane. It's why I don't like doing Yamagiwa as a time trial at all. Now, as we get towards the hairpin, then it's the start of the yellow text here that you're seeing right now. This is my brake marker. You're probably saying, Tidge, use the curb. But it's just after the curb, so I prefer the yellow text because it's in the center of your screen. Now, I want you to brake hard here, and then we're going to trail brake the very end. And we're going to stay in 3rd gear as we go through this corner. Instantly go on the throttle. You're not going to be in the power band initially, so you'll just get round the corner, no problem. And then on the exit, you will be in the power band. Just be careful of a little bit of power oversteer. As we go down here, then we've just turned now just before the marshal box. That marshal box is a lift-off marker and also a dab of the brake marker. So we're trying to control the car at this point, control the weight of the car. So as we go into here, we're trying to get as far right as possible. We'll dab the brakes, keep dabbing the brakes as well to slow the car down and get over towards that right-hand side. There we go, look at that. Really trying to slow the car down. Now, the end of the curb is your brake marker. I'm going to do this a tiny bit wrong this time. I'm going to lose about 1/10 here, but I can still explain it here. So we're going to go hard on the brakes as we come off this one, and then we're going to release the brakes and let the car roll through the corner. You have to let the car roll. Now, you can do this in 3rd gear if you want to, and I do believe 3rd gear is probably a little bit better. Even so, I do it in 4th and just stay on the circuit there. You need to accelerate after you go over the curb. If you go accelerate before you go on it, the front will lift and you'll take off. So just be careful of that one. The final corner then, the marshal box on the left-hand side is your brake marker. Similar to a couple of the other corners, turn 1 and the long left-hander, you're going to point towards the corner a little bit here and go hard on the brakes. You're going to drop to 3rd gear for this one. Hard on the brakes. We start to release the brakes just as the car then wants to turn. There are 2 billboards here. There's a line of billboards, in fact, but the last 2 are accelerating markers because as they approach the center of your screen, you need to get on throttle. Now, if you go on throttle a bit too early or you're just overturning the car that little bit, you're going to suffer some power oversteer. So do be careful of that on the exit, okay? You may want to lift off a little bit or just control it, and you'll notice that I had a tiny wiggle, nothing major, but you're going to see that on chase cam as well. You're going to see me just seesawing the wheel a little bit. We're going to head towards the line using the gear indicator as where we are shifting in this car because the short shift is a tiny bit better. 143.370. We jump to our controller lap now. So remember, the end of the text there is our brake marker. Trail braking all the way in. 80 miles an hour. There it is. It's the on throttle. On and off the throttle there. A bit off again. Just trying to make sure we reduce that understeer here on the controller. And we try and do that on actually all inputs. We're a little bit down our previous lap. Over towards the left-hand side. Before the end of the curve, over to the right. I lift off a little bit late there. So I was going to compromise the left a little bit. So I will have to lift off a tiny bit more there as we continue on through here. If the car does get some oversteer there, I can control it that little bit better on the controller. 100 board then our brake marker, aim towards the corner, drop to 4th gear, clip the curb, and then continue trail braking all the way to 90 miles an hour. I actually rolled quite a lot of that one then. And then instantly, as we get to 90 miles an hour, we accelerate through the corner and we head towards the chicane. Remember, changing out that gear indicator. That was a bit of an over rev, but nothing too major here. On the right side, the 150 board, we're going to hit the brakes. Hard on the brakes initially, then trail brake a little bit, get over towards the left-hand side. Now, through the chicane on the controller, it's much easier because if you get any form of oversteer, you can catch it so fast. Now, we go a little bit deep there as we go through here, so it's going to compromise us for this right kink. Notice there we're going to get in the middle, so we lift off a little bit to try and get towards the center for the hairpins. Hard on the brakes when we got to the start of the yellow text. Instantly on the power then as we go through this corner. I was a bit delayed on throttle there. I should have gone on that a little bit earlier. It does cost me a tiny bit of time as we head down here. Marshal box left hand side, lift off, dab the brakes a little bit. Just slow the car down towards the end of the curb. Hard on the brakes and lift off. Let the car roll through. Once we go over the curb, we can accelerate out of there and head towards the final marshal box on the left hand side. So hard on the brakes, we aim towards the corner. 3rd gear here as we release the brakes, get it turned in. As with the 2 last billboards, get to the center of the screen, start accelerating. Just be careful of some power oversteer and then head towards the line then. Remember, shift on the gear indicator, which is where it says 3 right now. We can shift there. Just a bit of an over rev, nothing major though. Just shift around that point. That's a 143.750. You can follow that lap on the leaderboards. ABS is on weak here as we trail brake in towards turn number 1 here on chase cam. We're looking for 80 miles an hour, instantly start accelerating. Notice there I'm adjusting the throttle accordingly to get onto that curb to accelerate round this corner. Going to head over towards the left side. You're going to see how much I cut this now. So really maximizing the angle of the corner. We accelerate to this, get off the curb before the exit, over towards the left hand side. And once again, just being careful to try and control the car. Lots of bouncing, which is what I talk about with the boaty or slash weighty feel of this car. The 100 board is on its brake marker. Point towards the corner, hard on the brakes now. 4th gear, trail brake in, trail brake in. Release 90 miles an hour, instantly go on throttle. There we go. And we can accelerate through this corner then and head towards the dreaded chicane. So the 150 board is critical for this. So it's just after the 150 board. You have to brake hard in a straight line. If you remotely turn too early, you're not going to make the corner. So hard on the brakes there. We then release the brakes, turn in. We go over the first curve, instantly start accelerating, using all of the curb there. Look at this. Using all the concrete, and we continue on through. If you get some oversteer at the exit of that chicane, just keep turning into it. It should stick itself there, unless you've absolutely gone nuts and bounced everywhere. Hard on the brakes then for the hairpin. 3rd gear here. Watch when I instantly go on throttle. There we go. Look at that. Instantly on the throttle. The quickest way to get around that corner. You're not going to suffer any understeer because you're not in the power band straight away. Heading down here, then the marshal box on the left-hand side. We're going to lift off and dab the brakes, and then dab the brakes again, dab the brakes again, then hard on the brakes. We're going to lift off before we get to the curb, then accelerate through. We just stay on the track there, just there, as we head over towards the left-hand side. Look for that marshal box. Here it is, hard on the brakes, 3rd gear, point towards the corner, release the brakes, get it turned in. There, the 2 billboards, accelerate out of the corner. Look at that seesawing on the wheel. You can see through that rear view, oh, not rear view mirror, the rear mirror, no, the rear window. You will get it right here. Right, let's head towards the line then. That is a 143.370. That's my fastest lap so far. We're going to jump to the VR lap here then. So VR, we're going to brake a little bit after the marshal box here for this one. I felt like you could just brake a little bit later on VR. No idea why. As we go through here then, instantly gets those billboards on the right side. We're going to start accelerating through here then. And on and off the throttle as I do that as well. So we exit the corner then, head over towards the left-hand side. I actually found this easier on VR, believe it or not. So I go into this corner, accelerate a little bit, over towards the left-hand side. Just lift off a tiny bit as we continue on through here. I could judge track limits better on the right-hand side of the car. And that's where I was struggling a little bit when I was just on the wheel and the 2D screen. So looking for the 100 board here. There it is. Aim towards the corner. Hard on the brakes now. Drop to 4th gear. Clip that curb. You trail brake a little bit. Get towards that 90 miles an hour. You can't really see it here. So I'm using the ghost more than anything to judge my speed accordingly as we continue on through there. Then over towards the right-hand side here. Looking for that 150 board. We're braking just after it leaves the screen. There it is. Leaves the screen. Hit the brakes hard then. Over towards the left-hand side. Once again, similar to the first part of the lap there. The chicane I felt was easier to do in VR. No idea why, other than judging the car a little bit better on the right-hand side, which is where I was really having issues with track limits, bizarrely. Right, start of the text here is our brake marker for the hairpin as we go hard on the brakes. Instantly go on the throttle, okay? I struggle in VR here just because I was not being aggressive enough. I could see around the corner and I was just not putting foot to the floor. We're going to head down here, then mosh box to the left-hand side, lift off, dab the brakes, dab the brakes, dab the brakes, then hard on the brakes, lift off, get over towards the left-hand side. We cut that a lot more than normal. Could have actually abused track limits a little bit more there, or gone a little bit quicker as we head towards the final corner. Then mosh box to the left-hand side, hard on the brakes as we go into here, where the last two billboards, there they are. Accelerate as they come into view, then on VR, and we can head towards the line. My ghost that I'm chasing there, it is actually my ghost. It's my previous record before I jump back on after learning a few things from the controller and VR app, and that's how I improved from a 0.5 to a 0.3, but there's definitely 42s in there, that is for sure. Now, you're probably going, Tidge, how do you actually get to sport mode and try and get 2 million credits? Well, here you go then. So here is the opening screen that you're used to. Go to the top right-hand side where sport mode is. Menu book 10 you have to complete first before that opens up. You have daily races and online time trials. Click into online time trials. These are the currently live ones at the moment there. So we're jumping into Yamagiwa there in that R34. And you open up with these times then. Top left-hand side, gold, silver, bronze. So if you get under these times at the end of the 2 weeks, and those times will improve as we get new world record holders. If you're underneath the final record time on those times, you will get the credits accordingly. Now, I've just gone to the leaderboard here. You can watch the replays that I showed you. So there's my record, that there, 43.3. Alternatively, when you are in the event, you can go to the leaderboard and actually load the ghost there. So rather than play replay, you can click load ghost and follow the ghost like I did on the pad and VR app. That's it in a nutshell for this one. Control the way to the car, especially through the chicane that you're seeing right now, and you should be able to get a lap on the board and hopefully get those 2 million credits with the help of this video. Now, for me, this one is a bit fun, but it's also frustrating with track limits, so just bear that in mind in terms of that, because you will get frustrated at parts. If you enjoyed this video, as always, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. We've hit 200,000 subscribers, so a massive thank you to each and every one of you who is supporting the channel. Do check out my partners down below who help support the channel as well. Fanatec, GT Amiga, and Coach Dave Academy. Last week's time trial app is there for you, and also the latest patch video where I went into a bit more detail about what they introduced. Thank you as always for watching, and I hope to see you in another video live stream again very soon.